Governor Sarah Palin was just here in Ohio, but a little bit of Alaska followed her onto the campaign trail. A bipartisan committee of the Republican-controlled Alaska legislature issued a report into what exactly happened in what's called Troopergate. And that 263-page report came out over the weekend.
At issue, did Governor Sarah Palin do anything wrong when she tried to get her sister's ex-husband, Mike Wooten, whom she says is violent, fired as a trooper? And did she do anything wrong when she fired the Public Safety Commissioner, Walt Monaghan, after he refused to fire Wooten? Monaghan told ABC News' Brian Ross that the pressure from Palin was intense.
I understand that people get emotional around issues like divorces, and to some extent it was venting. But when it began to continue, I realized it was less than venting and more perhaps an obsession.
The investigative report concluded that Palin had abused her power and had violated state ethics laws. So how did Palin respond? That's parsing. The report concluded there was nothing unethical about replacing a cabinet member, Monaghan, but investigator Stephen Branchflower said there was something clearly unethical about the efforts by Palin and her husband to fire her sister's ex-husband. And the woman heralded for her authenticity also says this.
And thankfully, the truth was revealed there in that report that showed that there was no unlawful nor unethical activity on my part.
That is not what the report states. Branchflower writes, I find that Governor Sarah Palin abused her power by violating the Alaska Executive Branch Ethics Act by trying to have Wooten fired for personal reasons. And yet, in a conference call with Alaska reporters, Palin said this.
I'm very, very pleased to be cleared of any legal wrongdoing, any hint of any kind of unethical activity there. Very pleased to be cleared of any of that.
But the report clearly did not clear her of unethical activity. So how does Palin explain this repeated false assertion? Simple. Parsing.
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is. Yes.
For Palin, it all depends on what the meaning of report is. A Palin spokeswoman explains that when Palin says she's been cleared of ethical violations, she's talking about the part of the report that cleared her in firing Monaghan, ignoring the other part of the report about Wooten.
Now, Palin and the McCain campaign continue to insist that their concern was that Wooten should not be a state trooper because he's a violent person, according to them, and they feared what he would do as a state trooper. But the investigation concluded that those stated fears, quote, were not bona fide and were offered to provide cover for the Palin's real motivations to get Trooper Wooten fired for personal family-related reasons.